Hey there, this is Dolphin Doug in beautiful Juneau, Alaska, and I want to answer the question of how many days you should stay in Juneau. I'm starting out in a special spot. This is really, really pretty for me, as I'm sure it's pretty for you. That is the Mendenhall Glacier. This is the Mendenhall Lake, and yes, Virginia, those are icebergs. And you need to come up here real quick if you want to see icebergs on this lake. That glacier of ours is melting like whack. This big red smear on that side, I've never seen that before. That's just rock. It does, you can't see it, but out here, this is Nugget Falls, there's a peninsula, and the lake bends around behind that peninsula and goes up to the glacier. Maybe I'll drive over that way and let you see it from there. But I wanted to talk to you about how many days to stay in Juneau, so I'm not going to get entirely distracted. This is October 15th, and the top of that mountain, that's Nugget Mountain, Bullion Mountain. And you can't really get there because from the far side of the lake, I can hike up to the waterfall, and that's as far. And this river is, that's Nugget Falls. That's really hard to cross anywhere. That's a heck of a lot of water coming down. Anyway, the question is how long to stay here. Well, you're going to want to come to this spot that I'm in. This is West Glacier Trail, and look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I've only got a 3x zoom. I wish I had more. Yep, icebergs. We don't get these every year, and we're not going to get them for long because that Mendenhall Glacier is just about to pull out, and it just makes all of us sad. So the trail, though, West Glacier Trail, if you know what you're doing, and prior to this year, you could hike out and touch ice. I think we're done with that. It might just be impossible to get to. Are they going to change the trail so that we can get out and touch ice? I doubt it. It is a very long hike. It is a complicated hike that's not on trail, but it's possible that you could pull it off. So I'm going to drive from just around town a little bit to answer this question. So I would say an awful lot of people come to Juneau for a day on a cruise ship. If you're one of those people, you're gonna have to take tours to try to see even a fraction of this. To see most of the stuff I'm showing, this West Glacier Trail, there are some tours that come out of here, there's hiking tours that go up, but you can't do everything that Juneau deserves in the amount of time in one day. Now this is a spot, this has special history with me because it's my kids would walk around on these rocks, and you can jump from one rock to another on the inner piece, and it's a continuous path. It's about 80 rocks long, and I started out with my kids when they're little and tiny, and they've done that. It's getting a little bit mossy, but that's still pretty. So the lake is very full because it's been pouring down rain the last couple of days, and so one day you're going to be disappointed. Now, what do you need to do when you're in Juneau? Well, you're going to want to go downtown and wander around downtown. There's the tour district. You can look at the tourist shops, but there's also the Capitol building, which you're free to go into. There's the State Museum, the city museums. They're wonderful, and there's a very quaint culture feel. Downtown Juneau is a very walkable thing. So for you guys, I mean, if you got an RV and you're coming to town, that's hard. But if you got a rental car, you're absolutely going to want to spend part of a day at least walking downtown. Now, I'm an outdoorsy person, and I love wildlife. And I run a whale watching tour business in Juneau, and I would really recommend that you go whale watching when you're here in Juneau. I'd love for you to come out with me. Remember, my name's Dolphin Doug. You can remember because there's an island offshore that's called Douglas Island. So if you think about Douglas Island, you'll remember that thing was named after me. Now, anyway, getting out to see the whales, absolutely. If you haven't done it in Alaska before, you should do it. I go out whale watching every year. I try to hike out and touch the ice every year. I try to kayak across the lake or kayak someplace else every year. There's certain things. I go for a low tide beach walk every year. You should do the same thing. These are things that they just fill your soul with good feelings, and Alaska is full of that good stuff. So, I don't know. I don't want it to look like your eyes were getting a little bit weird to go to that wider angle. So, 2 days. Let's see. Do you want to go hiking? Well, you can hike along the beach. You can hike up into the mountains. You can go to the top of almost any one of these mountains, and it's not a difficult path. These are 3,500 foot mountains around here, mostly. There are nice trails to the top of them. There are plenty of people that hike them. I'm assuming you're coming here in the summer months. You don't have all that much to worry about. This isn't like the mountains of Colorado, where it takes you so long to get back to civilization, you can really get yourself stuck up there. This is just 3,500 foot mountains. A lot of day trips are easy to do on almost all of these trails, and everything you can see you can do from a day trip. You need to go whale watching. I'm not just trying to push that. If for a cruise ship passenger, the holy grail is to go whale watching and to get up on the ice field with a helicopter tour. Now, they're expensive. I've done that. I actually took my whole crew up to Skagway, the next community, and did an ice field landing from there 1 year. It was a good year, and I thought my crew deserved it. And it was absolutely spectacular and magnificent. Now, I'm the kind of guy that hikes out to these places, but it's another world up there. It's just like the whales. They're right there waiting for you. If you come up here and don't do those things, you're nuts. To try to squeeze both of those things in one day is really tough. From a cruise ship, almost impossible, but possible if you pick a cruise ship that stays here for 13 hours rather than 7. So, but we're really talking about you guys that want to stay longer. You're going to want to explore downtown. You're going to want to come out and walk out by the Mendenhall Glacier where we're about to go to. It's lovely to take a lot of these different trails around town. You're going to want to go to a couple of our nice restaurants. It's a nice place to hang out. I would think we've got to drive out the road to the Shrine of St. Therese, drive up to Eagle Crest Ski area, go for walks in both of those places. Go to the very end of the road and check out Echo Cove. Those are just nice things to do. I would say if you're visiting here, you could probably, and this is the Mendenhall River. That is all glacial silt. It's that water flowing out of that lake. It's very high because it's been raining so much, and that's the silt that's been ground up by the lake, by the glacier. So I would recommend a week, and you're probably going to be in great shape. A second week, and you start doing some of the same things a second time. If you spend 3 days, you're still going to be a little short. Heck, I just thought of something else you have to do. You really have to go fishing. The fishing here is magnificent. It just is. I'm a Florida boy, born and raised, but there's no fishing down in Florida. Those water, you can see a long ways through them. This is pea soup green stuff. We've got salmon galore. We've got halibut. We've got crab. We've got shrimp. A lot of that stuff is hard to do if you're from out of state, but it's still a really good place to come fishing. Get some salmon. So come in August. That's the best month for fishing. If you're a fisherman, you really want to pay attention. But there are fishermen and fishing boats that go out every day of the summer and into the spring and the fall. So, yeah, that's the question. I think I've answered it. It takes a week to see most everything. You can drive literally, virtually the entire road system, except for the roads in between the neighborhoods of houses, in a day. So you can certainly get that knocked out in a week. You can enjoy the trails. You can enjoy our restaurants. You can enjoy our shopping downtown. You can enjoy our museums. You can enjoy our glacier, the visitor center at the glacier. You can go up to Eagle Crest and enjoy that. You can really, I would recommend you take that ice field helicopter trip. I don't get any money from that, but that's a wonderful idea. And you would say, man, I'm glad since I spent so much money to get to Alaska that I didn't chicken out and not do that trip. Heck, if the rest of your family doesn't thinks it's too crazy expensive, then just do it yourself, and you can take the pictures and they can live without it. There, that'll make everything happy. Only one of you needs to go up to the top. So now I'm driving out towards the glacier, and the history here is neat. The mining history. You got to go to the mining museum that is downtown. It's a beat up old mining era building on the far side of a creek. Just a wonderful place. Renee and Gary that run that thing are just folks that can answer all the questions that you didn't know you had. They've been here forever and they know things backwards and forwards. They're like me. They pick up knowledge all over the place. And then if you just tap them on the right shoulder, they'll spit it out. So this is the drive out to the Mendenhall Glacier. Not so very long ago, I don't have the exact time, but it's something like 200 years ago, there was ice right here. This is where it ended. So we're driving towards that glacier, and the glacier's been melting for well over 200 years, 400, 500 years. This is a cycle that the glacier's going through. Climate change sure ain't helping it, but it's irrelevant that humans are here. We're at a period where this ice field and this glacier are receding. The glaciers have been going back for long before humans started burning lots of carbon. So that's just here and there. The ice is not going to disappear. The ice field that feeds the Mendenhall Glacier is about 1,500 square miles, and that's one of the big ones in Alaska. So it'll be there. It's just going to be there. It's going to be harder and harder to get to and access and see. So look at this fog. This is not atypical. Fog is a little exceptional. Rain is more likely. This time of year we get these huge storms, but this is starting to cut down on my enthusiasm because I might not be able to see some of the beautiful stuff around us. So Tongass National Forest, I think it's the biggest forest in the United States. This is bear country out here. You're going to want to go for bear walks when you're out here. You're going to want to see the salmon if you're here at the right time of the year. You can see salmon in the streams. You need to go to the salmon hatchery. These are all the reasons why I think a week is a reasonable length of time. And you got to remember, you're going to get blown out with horrible weather for 1 or 2 of those days. So to think you're really going to get 7 days of good touring, probably not. This is just Juneau and you can't always bet on it. That's true in July, which has some of the best weather of the year. It just isn't always nice. This green mesh, I think, is intended to keep the bears from walking across right there. But there are bears. It doesn't mean, oh, this is revegetation in process. Nobody walks down that creek except for the bears, so maybe they need to kick the bears out. I actually heard that this has been a bad year for bear watching in Juneau, and I don't know why. There are sockeye salmon that come through the up the Mendenhall River through that nasty, very gritty water, and they swim up here to this clean, steep creek and spawn here. And that's a large part of what the bears are attracted by. There you go. See that little dog? Should we call him bear bait? Eagle bait? Nah, he's too big for an eagle. Yeah, look at that. So there's the Mendenhall Glacier that we've already seen, and in came a cloud, and you can't see it. This is the Mendenhall Visitor Center. It's beautiful and nice, and see if you wanted to come out here, and this is your only chance. It's out there. I saw a glimpse of it. If this is your only chance, you'd be not quite 100% happy. I would hike out here twice in a week without a problem. Without a problem. I mean, I've done that on my own. You just come out here when you can, and then you come out here when the weather's better, and you remember the better weather and whatever you saw on the worst day. Yeah. Visitor Center is real nice. It won't take you more than an hour to look around that thing, but depends on how many questions you have. I ask lots of questions, and sometimes I get sucked in. Oh, when you do this trail, there's a little trail. It's called the Trail of Time. Even if you hike out to the waterfall, which is recommended too, the Trail of Time gets really hammered by people when the cruise ships are in, but it's got beautiful slick and slides. And I forgot to mention, at that other side, right where we started, there's a rock called Tolch Rock, T-O-L-C-H. It's a giant, enormous, can I use both those words at the same time? See that little hinged door? I think that's for porcupine. This is a salmon-looking spot. Nobody's there. It's a good spot to see if there are bears around. They often feed down there, and maybe those little doors are for bears. They could go right through those too. They don't want the bears to climb over. But if you come out here, the bears are not. They're habituated to humans. They've seen lots more humans than you have. Don't feed them. I know you've heard this before, but you still needs to be said. Enjoy them. Don't run from them. Don't scream. You should be talking. Notice those people are walking along and they're talking away. Bears know the sound of human voices. Bears down by the creek, if it's loud and you can't hear each other very easily, they don't hear you. But these bears are totally, relaxed as far as I've always seen them. I've seen brown bears and black bears. Brown bears and black bears don't mix with each other. You'll see one or the other. Brown bears chase black bears away. So yeah, there you go. A week, I've mentioned all those little things. I was firing them out at you, and I've probably missed half a dozen. You got the tram. You could go up that. That's if you're not going to hike a mountain, I'd recommend that's one good way to get up to Alpine. Take the helicopter. If you still feel like you're jonesing for Alpine, take the tram. If you really wanted to go for just an Alpine hike, and this is a good one. I got to show you. This is the bus parking lot for when the tour buses are here in the summer. Way down there at the far end. Way down there. Come on, zoom in. Is a pile of snow. It's got weird mist coming off of it. That pile was higher than the trees, just barely, and extended almost all the way out to where that big wheeled bucket loader is. They dumped the snow from Juneau streets there to clear the streets. And it's full of gravel, so they can, most years, recover the gravel and do it again. We had so much snow last year that that's not a possibility. I mean, that front end loader is going there and clearing things. It's smashing into the ice, breaking it up, spreading it around so that the rain that we've been having, massive amounts of rain, can wash it down. So that's my tour of Juneau. That's my recommendation 1 week. I gave you a list of a whole bunch of things you might want to do. Can you get them done in less time? Yes. But if you end up with 3 days of bad weather, you start messing into things. Rent a car. A perfectly safe place to drive around, easy place to navigate. Cell phones work everywhere except out the road is iffy, and up at Eagle Crest is definitely no go. But there's even an electric charging stand up there at Eagle Crest. So stay warm and dry. I hope you have extra tufts. Have a wonderful trip to Alaska, and I'd love to see you coming out with us on our whaleboats. Dolphin Dug out.